I'm close. We'll be back with Mr. Compton. I want to ask you, man, where did you get this passion, this drive? When did this start out for you? Because, like I say, for you to be this passionate, and like I say, with the drive to actually go out to the people, that's something that you're not taught that. Just being honest, you're not taught that kind of stuff. That's something that you just have to have in you. So, like I say, when did this start for you? How did you develop this passion about it?
Yeah, man. So I think what you're describing is what Webster would call altruism. I didn't learn that until I was like 16 or 17. But for me, I think it just started from how I was raised. Man, I was born in 1990, and my mom at the time was living with my grandmother, and so she lived on 1913 Northeast 29th. If you guys know where that's at. It sits on one side of Martin Luther King, where you can either be on the east side of the street, where violence is there every day, or you can be on the west side of the street, where there are a lot of older generation families that are just trying to protect their kids and grandkids and show them a better life. And so thankfully for me, I had that opportunity to live there with my grandma while my mom was at work. And I saw a lot of things that just, they don't leave you as a kid. Like, things made me sad, probably in a way that probably didn't make most kids sad, but, just seeing homeless people, seeing people that, just needed help and just needed voices, families having to work 2 to 3 jobs just to be there. And so you build all this up, man, and like you go to school. I went to class in SAS, so I had an opportunity to be put in a better school than was available in my district. Mm-hmm. I get taken from one place and put into another, where you see just this total gap of what people experience in their lives. And so I just knew, man, that in seeing those things, I just wanted to do something about it. I had my first interactions with volunteering at the American Red Cross, and I don't know if they still have it here locally, but the local Red Cross at the time, they had a program where they would send teens both to the VA hospital to volunteer with veterans, and then to also volunteer at the Salvation Army once a week. And so, I kept that drive, man, of just wanting to find out ways where I could be a part of the community, find out ways to help people. I got to college, I joined my fraternity, Alpha Phi Alpha, and one of the biggest things for us, man, is to make sure that we are reinvesting into the community. We have the Alpha Boys Institute, where we reach back to kids that are disenfranchised, that may come from single-parent homes, they don't have father figures. We try to help them out. We try to give them those opportunities just to see men that are working, and maybe we're not at the top of the line in places where we want to be in life, but at least they see an example of people that can help them, man. But to make a long story less long, for me, it's just a combination of just everything that I've seen my whole life, man, and just making sure that I'm doing something to give back. It doesn't matter how much that I succeed personally. If I've given nothing back to the community, it means nothing.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, that sounds like a person that, once again, you want to do your research on it. It's ideal for what you want, for what you're running for, State House, District 90.
Yes,
so what do you feel as if you could add to that, to the State House? Like I say, I mean, me and a lot of regular people say, why do we vote?
Sure.
Why do we do this? What is it that you gonna do different than what we already seeing?
I think the biggest thing that I tell people on the doors, man, is just a culture change. I don't like the term politics because it encompasses so much of what people don't like and that I don't like myself. I don't like the way that there's this separation of people in power, what you were talking about in the first segment, that it shouldn't be that way. We're people too. Whether I'm a constituent or I'm a candidate, I should have every right to speak to you as a legislator, and furthermore, it should be your concern to do that. And so I think when I go to the doors now, people just, they think of their legislators, even though some of them obviously don't fit this narrative, but they think of a legislator as an elitist. Like, there's this person that's very highly separated from me because they're literally at Lincoln Boulevard in the Capitol, so they don't feel how I feel. And I just tell people, I am just as regular as you are. I live just down the block from you, so I want you to know that this is a person that you can call. I'll give you my cell phone number. You can come to my house if you want, if you have some issues. But people just want to make sure that they're heard in a way that relates to them. They don't want a fancy mailer to come in. They don't want, some big commercial to run and see the platforms. They want to see the person. So that's the biggest thing. And then I also talk about representation. And some people, I go to their door and they think that I'm talking about race. And though there are, again, even though my district is diverse, I'm talking about more than that. I'm talking about making sure that if this person only makes $14,000 a year and they have government assistance, they have that same representation at the State House in terms of bills that come out for this district as the person that's a millionaire. And that's how politics should work. There's no way that I could be the state rep for District 90 and only cater to one precinct of Democrats or Republicans, whatever position that I'm putting myself in. That's not fair. So those are my top two things, just to make sure that we're talking about equal power and equal rights and an equal voice.
And how do people keep voting against their best interests? Like, how do we continue to do that on a national level, but as well, like you said,
Sure.
our state elections affect us. I mean, it can trickle down,
Sure.
but probably more than what's going on at a national level. But we continue to elect people that don't have our best interests
Sure.
in mind. How do we do that?
So I think we end up in that case, by that intentional or consequential comparison. One thing, the education is not there in terms of political education, is not there in the way that people would want it to be. The Oklahoma Policy Institute is a bipartisan area that provides education on different state questions, different candidates, different issues within the state. That's one way people can learn about the things that are going to impact them that they can vote on. But at the same time, now we're talking about someone that has to go online, or they have to go to their business to actually find it. And so I think that becomes a piece too, because you compare all the variables that we've talked about this morning: the frustration, the disenfranchisement, the lack of care, to be honest, and then you just put all those things together, and then that person is removed from the process. So I tell people all the time, if you don't vote for me, that's fine, but here's some information about how you can learn about the things that I'm running on, and you can also learn about things that are going to impact you every day.
That makes sense.
And I think we got a caller. Go ahead, caller, state your name, where you calling from. Hello, caller. I think we're having some technical difficulties here. We'll patch it in when we get a chance. But it's like she said, we vote the same people in over and over and over, and that's why I asked the question: what's going to be different? We need something different in here. Things have been looking bad for a while, and we've been voting the same people in, and we've been getting the same results. And that's why I say we as the people have to take back the power. We're not even. Seems as if the people are not even looking.
Sure.
They're voting along the same lines, or as I like to call it, or plenty of people like to call it, voting for different branches of the same tree.
Absolutely.
And under the current governor that we have, I tell people all the time, any branch that's connected to that tree, you might want to watch. I mean, just being quite honest. I mean, if everything's been going down and down and down and down based upon or with this person, then what happens? I mean,
Sure.
Are we not paying attention?
No, you're right. And I think the biggest thing, man, is that we need a spark, we need a catalyst, and there are a bunch of different things that will go into that progression. But, you look on the other side and you look at the Republican Party, their biggest thing, in terms of strategy has been not being a career politician. That's how Donald Trump won the election. He promoted that he is not your regular politician. Of course, he represents things that are a lot different than what represent us and me. But then you look in the same way in local races. The first words that come out of Kevin Stitt's mouth on his commercial for governor is that he is not a career politician, because on that side of the line, in terms of party, he knows who he's appealing to. So I think at the same time, in terms of the Oklahoma Democratic Party and even nationally, we have to figure out those ways to relate to everyone. I've figured it out a little bit in terms of my district that, again, somebody, the people here just want a way to relate to the person that represents them. They want to make sure they feel comfortable with that person. But you're absolutely right. How do we take all of those things and put it on a national level so we can win just as much?
Yeah, and that's key to it. Like you say, man, they always say that they're not a career politician. I always think about it as they're aiming for people who not really been in politics.
Yeah. That's right.
I mean, that's what they go
That's
for.
right.
I mean, and if you notice some of the things that some of the people say, it's very apparent that they have no real understanding
Sure.
of politics,
Sure.
and how this thing works. They're just fooled by appearance.
Absolutely.
And if you break it down that they're winning by that one-liner, I'm not a career politic, and they're getting elected, again, that's sad.
Yeah. That's you're absolutely right. It is sad, and that's why I said it's that polarizing piece. But to its benefit, that party and those people have found a trigger, to relate directly to those people. And so I think in terms of in pushing forward progress, if we want that same kind of change, we want that same kind of polarization without the bigotry and racism. We have to work with the people that support the party and just good people in general.
Yeah, I mean, and that goes into it. The people who know what's going on, we have to make sure that we get in there and educate some people also.
Sure.
So they can understand, I was speaking to someone the other day that had never heard of the term gerrymandering. I was like, man, we're not even, I should like get you like some kind of politics for dummies 101 or something, because that's one of the most easiest ways that people can kind of get over on us.
You're not wrong. And you're right. We have to just find those ways to just interact with people every day, because politics can be a normal conversation, but we've also kind of put it in this bucket where we're only going to talk about it during election season, and we also can't talk about it at work, can't talk about it at church, can't talk about it with friends, because you don't want to make those people mad. So we have to remove some of those variables. I'm not saying we have to cross those lines and have ethical issues, but we still need to find a way to just make sure it's a regular conversation, because it is a regular part of our lives.
Yeah. Okay. But we're finna go into another break real quick. When we come back, man, I got a question that I'm gonna ask. It's kind of dear to me and a lot of my friends, and like we spoke a little bit on it earlier. It's kind of sweeping the nation. And once we get back, man, I'm gonna ask you that question. I'm gonna hold it off until we get back. But right now, I got on Bell Biv DeVoe with When Will I See You Smile Again? This is the All the Above show.